Darth Vader is one of the coolest space handicapped people I know, and while seeing him leading the Empire in Skyrim, it was now time to see how he would fare in Fallout 4. So without further ado, let's see how the big man handles an entire planet of hostiles. With Lord Vader arriving on Earth, his first mission was to track down a missing smuggler. He was last known to be transporting a shipment for the Emperor, and with knowledge of Outer Rim gangs moving in the area, the Empire couldn't afford for it to fall into the wrong hands. But Vader would have to track this shipment down himself, as the Empire had its troops investigating other matters. Making it to Concord, Vader had his first run-in with raiders, and let's just say he underestimated his opponents. Having only just woken up from a day at the sauna, his skills were still a little rusty, but with the use of the Force, the raiders were shown why everyone fears him. The raiders had taken a group of warfighters hostage, and making it to the Museum of Freedom, as much as it wasn't, Vader met the Minutemen. They were a small Commonwealth militia-based group with hardly any firepower to defend themselves. But as Vader went to leave, they told him that they could help, maybe not with fighting, but with information. They told Vader that the smuggler worked out of Diamond City. With his quest one step closer, he made his way out of the building, only to have to fight more raiders. Whether that helped the Minutemen, he didn't care, but if they survived, maybe they could be of more use later. Making it to Diamond City, Vader went to the smuggler's office. His secretary revealed the location of his last known ping, and normally when introducing yourself to the neighbors, you bring some kind of gift, and Vader did, but the only kind of gift the Dark Lord hands out is close-ups of his lightsaber. Fighting through the narrow spaces proved to work in Vader's favor, as all of his force powers either stripped the weapons from the gangsters' hands or sent them flying with force push. Finding the smuggler, Darth Vader asked about the shipment, but the smuggler said there was more to the story than the Emperor was letting on, and if he made it out of here alive, he would tell Vader everything. Sensing no ill will from the smuggler, he agreed to get him out of here, mainly because it did seem as the Emperor was hiding something, and it gave him all the more reason to test his blade against more gangsters. While making their way out, Darth Vader arrived at Skinny Malone, who offered him his freedom in exchange for the smuggler. Except, Lord Vader had a better idea. With the smuggler returned to his office, it was revealed that the shipment was actually a brain chip that could persuade someone to do what the controller wanted, and the Emperor was funding their manufacturing to give to bounty hunters to attach to key political figures. But Vader didn't care. This was a normal thing in the way of political espionage. This smuggler had wasted his time. But before he could strike him down, the smuggler revealed that Vader already had one of these brain-controlled chips active. Being a droid, he had a sense for these things. And this made so much sense. The Emperor had been using Vader as his personal lapdog recently, and if there was a way to break free of the control, he would be able to lead the Empire in the way that he saw fit. But the smuggler said that before Vader could go around trying to turn the brain-controlled chip off, he'd have to go track down the bounty hunter Kellogg, who knew how the chips worked inside and out. Kicking in the door to Fort Hagen, the place was littered with droids, but as someone who spent his early years building a droid with the biggest plot armor you've ever seen, he knew exactly how to tear them apart. Arriving at Kellogg, he told Lord Vader that of course he knew how the brain chips worked, but the Emperor already knew that Vader was trying to break control, and Kellogg wouldn't help in any way. Since Vader couldn't get any info out of Kellogg was useless. No point in keeping him around.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
But hearing that the Emperor knew about his recent dealings, he knew he had to sort this out fast. He returned to the smuggler and told him of the recent events. Knowing he'd be in the good graces of the Empire if he helped out, he told Vader of a rogue agent working for the Emperor that had one of these chips. If he could get a hold of it, he could figure out how to shut it down. But the part the smuggler left out was that this agent wasn't alone. But with time being of the essence, that didn't matter. With the chip in hand and knowing the Emperor would be hot on his tail, Vader went back to Sanctuary to meet with the Minutemen, but someone had made it there first.
When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
Once the dust had settled, Darth Vader ordered the Minutemen to build him a teleporter to get him back to the Empire, as a new promotion was coming his way, one that could shape the galaxy for eons to come. With his master defeated, Vader didn't have to play by any intergalactic rules anymore, and now he could use the full might of the Empire. As his first order of business, he called for an attack on the stronghold of Bunker Hill. They had kidnapped some stormtroopers a while back, but it wasn't getting his people back that he was concerned of. It was just crushing the rebellion one place at a time. But he more or less just supervised the fighting. The stormtroopers were doing exceptionally well here. With the rebels taking care of, Vader met with his higher-ups to hear of the rebel movements. They had recently ransacked an old Empire facility to gather some sort of super battery. Upon hearing this, it was clear the rebels were getting desperate and throwing everything they had to gain a foothold. But if Vader could swoop in and grab the battery for the Empire, not only would it cause a huge setback, but he could potentially gather some intel on where they were coming from. Cutting through the rebels proved troublesome. Not because they were difficult, but because they had developed some sort of power armor that could withstand lightsaber attacks. But whereas this would have thrown a wrench in the works for a lesser Force user, Vader was unfazed. He liked a challenge. While fighting the rebels, the Empire was doing its investigating, and with Vader returning, they had gathered enough intel to place not only the rebels' leaders, but they had also found their last major stronghold. By destroying both of those locations, the Rebel Alliance would fall and the Empire would no longer have any major hiccups in the future. So of course, another neighborly visit was required. But with the leaders taken care of, there was no one to warn the others at the rebel base, meaning Vader was able to waltz in and have the stormtroopers teleported in. The rebels never stood a chance. The Empire had won the day, and soon the galaxy would crumble to its knees. And that concludes the tale of Darth Vader's field trip gone horribly right. Corporate espionage, fighting your boss, and ruling the galaxy. All in a day's work. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing as it helps the channel out a ton. I want to thank all of you that watched to this point, and as always, I have been Chris from Crisis Gaming, and I will see you on the next one.